I continue with this presentation, I just would like to give a brief information about myself. So my name is Ferhat Ozturk, and I'm an associate professor of biology at Salros State University in Texas. So I've been working on medicinal honey for last 13 years. And after receiving my PhD in cell and molecular biology from University of Nevada, Reno, then I had postdoc experience at University of Nebraska Medical Center. And then I was an assistant professor and department chair in Turkey in the Honey Research Center. So, and overall, since the last 3.5 years, 4 years, I'm working at University of Texas, San Antonio. And I'm also the director of Honey Pathway. Basically, we are teaching our students about medicinal honey and other bee products, and as well as urban beekeeping and honeybee biology. And we are educating our students mostly for pre-health professionals, such as medicine, dentistry, public health, and so forth. So recently, I've been assigned as the department chair for the biomedical science at Salros State University in Eagle Pass, Texas. I'm also working as a chief scientific officer for Easy Honey, MDM Wound Ventures. So we are developing medical devices using medical grade honey for treatment of different type of wounds. So I'm the chief scientific officer for the company. So right now I will continue with my presentation after I introduce myself, and I hope you like my background. I have several bees, and I don't know if you were able to see the queen bee. Can you see the queen bee here? I'm just going side. Okay, maybe you can, or okay, if you saw the queen bee, just write it on the text. I don't know why I'm not showing up here, but there we go. She is the queen bee. Look at here. Sorry, it's just behind me now. Now she is laying the egg. Anyway, I don't want to distract you too much, but there she is. So she is the mother laying eggs. Okay, so I will continue with my slides first, some introduction slides about the propolis. Then I will share insights from my colleague Stefan Stengaciu from Romania. And thanks to him, he kindly shared his slides with me about the propolis, that he's the expert. So today okay, let me see if it's moving on. Okay, so within the honeybee, we have several products that are used for human medicine. And among these products, honey is the most common one, and especially the comb honey that we use. Okay, I'll try to use a laser pointer. So honeybee is the one that is mostly used for medicine for thousands of years by every civilization on Earth. Then we have this propolis here, actually, which is collected from the pine tree, and also the propolis from the poplar tree. So basically, this is the one that we're talking today. Other than that, we have bee air that is used for human health as well, especially for respiratory conditions, such as asthma or COPD and other respiratory diseases. And beeswax is also used for pain management, especially on superficial pains. And then bee larva, drone larva, which is apolernal, is a rich protein source. It's mostly used for the male fertility applications. And then royal jelly, which is the food of the queen cell. Again, we will be talking about this in the upcoming presentations. And again, royal jelly is one of the most common used ones. Then this is the bee bread. So these different colors like yellow and orange and red. So these are the fermented pollen. So as the honeybees collect the pollen from the flowers and blossoms for the protein source, they do not consume pollen as is. They just put them into the cells and they ferment it with the fungi. They reside in their mouth and intestines. So bee bread is the fermented pollen, and this has more nutritious value compared to the pollen only. And the last one, or the most famous one, is the bee venom. So bee venom, which is rich in melatonin. So bee venom is the therapeutic method that is used for treatment of various conditions, which includes joints and arthritis, and as well as multiple sclerosis, Lyme disease, and several other diseases which has localities in the body. So overall, there are more than 10 different products that are coming from the honeybees that is provided for us. So today we will be focusing on the propolis. So propolis is collected from the resin of the trees It's also known as the bee glue because propolis is a very gluey substance, as you can see here. And then it is used by the bees to fill the gaps and cracks and crevices inside the hive. And also it is used for mummification. I will go into their use a little bit more. But propolis is most extracted like a very solid, water-insoluble product from the hives. And literally propolis means, pro means before or protection, and polis is the city. So propolis is the protection of the bee city, which is the hive. So again, propolis is used for protection of the hive and from the infectious agents, the pathogens and bacteria and fungi, and as well as other large animals too. So propolis is this is how the bees are making propolis. You can see on the image on the left side, the GIF image. So basically they are processing the propolis, which is very sticky, with some chemicals that they release from their mouth, some solutions. So this becomes soluble and they can make the propolis on the side of the hive. And on the background, you can see a lot of propolis on the edges of the hive. And then again, this is a sticky substance that is made by the bees from tree and other plant resins. Again, these are the resins that are needed. And what they do is when they go to a tree, open hollow tree, what they do is they cover it with propolis. And then the propolis is antiseptic agent, antibacterial agent. So by covering with propolis, bees are kind of like when we use paint on our walls, to protect it, or when we use some kind of insulation. So this is what the bees are doing. They are using the propolis for insulation and also limiting the entrance, but as well as protecting the hive from the fungi or bacteria which are decomposing the tree. So again, propolis is the way that bees can survive in the wilderness when they land in different type of houses or hives for them. And again, this is another version of the propolis here. So there's a high amount of propolis we can see. And we'll go into more detail. Propolis from different regions of the world. They have different colors. They have different medicinal properties. They have different chemicals like polyphenols in them. And all these will affect the quality and also use of propolis for medical purposes. So propolis is mostly used as a medicine. It is used not as much as honey before, but again, propolis is used for hundreds or even thousands of years by several civilizations on Earth. So mostly used in Europe and as well as Middle East and also in the Asia. So propolis is used for wound healing, as you can see in most of the time in the wound healing, but also it is used for antibacterial agent. So basically, raw propolis is hardly used. It's not, because it's not water soluble, so it is hard for us to digest it. So propolis is mostly extracted by using alcohol or other chemicals. I will share them very soon. And then these extracts can be used as an ointment or for wound dressings, and then they're applied to the wounds. And most of the time, propolis and other chemicals will work synergistically, so it will have a complementary medicine. And by applying propolis into the wounds, it will decrease the healing time, it will kill the bacteria, and also it will regulate the inflammation, and by this way increase the healing potential, and as well as making the wound heal much faster. So also protein, 1960s is some of the first studies about propolis came out. So it is first shown that propolis is not toxic to human life, which was very important to discover or identify, because most of the medical professionals, they were afraid to use propolis because it can be toxic to the body. But they found out it is not toxic. It doesn't kill human cells. On the contrary, it is killing the bacterial cells or even cancer cells. So, and in 1970s, it was found propolis is very important for tissue regeneration, which is an important part of wound healing, as it regulates the enzymes and also mitosis. And we also found that propolis is antibacterial, antiprotozoal. So it means that propolis can kill the bacteria and also kill some protozoa, such as different chlamydias and so forth, which cause disease in human as well. In 1980s, we started to identify what is in the propolis, such by using HPLC or other methods. So we were able to identify the chemicals inside the propolis. And again, we found out propolis has so many polyphenols, which are very rich in antioxidants and also anti-inflammatory properties. So again, eventually in 1990s, clinical observations started, such as propolis used against mycobacteria, Staph aureus, and even resistant bacteria. And we found that propolis can be a great antibacterial agent that can kill different pathogens. And early 2000, we have preclinical studies in the animals. And now, starting in 2010, about 15 years ago, we discovered many more properties of the propolis in the scientific world. And now propolis is used in the clinics for wound healing, for infection treatments, and as well as some other topical applications. In addition, it is also consumed, and then it can also help internally for the healing of various types of diseases. Even there are different ways of propolis applications, such as suppositories from the rectal suppositories as well. So we'll go into more details about application of the propolis too. So propolis has more than 70 different bioactivities, but this one is some kind of like covering what are the properties. So again, propolis are antioxidant. It helps to regulate the oxidative stress. Propolis are antifungal. It will kill the fungi that cause disease in humans. Propolis is anti-diabetic, so which means that it can be used safely by the diabetic patients without causing any glucose uptake or glucose jump. And again, propolis antibacterial. It kills the pathogenic bacteria, which causes infections in humans. And propolis is anti-cancer, especially for topical cancer or skin cancers. Propolis has been shown for the treatment of this cancer type as it applied superficially on the skin. And then propolis antiprotozoan, again, when it is propolis consumed orally, it will clean our guts from the worms or from the other protozoa that cause infections or that cause disease in our intestines. So other than that, protein is anti-tumoral. Again, it prevents the expansion of the tumor or cancer cells. And propolis, very interestingly, it's being used for dental actions. So when you start, like if you have your own propolis at home or if you buy propolis, so you can use this propolis as become it a little bit jelly or like softer. You can use it as a toothpaste. So propolis toothpaste has been shown to improve the gum health extensively. So it helps your gums to regrow, but also propolis, because of its antibacterial activities, it is used for root canal. So when there is a root canal is opened, so small piece of propolis band or dressing can be put there. So by this way, it will prevent the infection, and also it will help the inflammation, and it will help the healing of the root canal much faster. So nowadays there are so many studies being used using propolis for dental health. And again, propolis anti-inflammatory, which is very critical for both wound healing, but also several diseases in our body causing from inflammation. So how does the propolis kills the bacteria or pathogens? So basically, it will penetrate into the host cell because it is lipid soluble, so it can pass through the cell membrane easily. And then after that, the propolis will inhibit the replication of the bacteria. And finally, propolis will also inhibit the metabolism of the bacteria. So, okay, I'm sorry, I'm getting some notifications. Okay. So then the propolis is also immunomodulatory. So when the propolis is consumed by human, this will enhance the immune system of our cells. It will help our immune system to be boosted and to get ready for different diseases.
There are some questions in the chat.
Yes, I see that the chat box. So can the use of daily use of propolis capsules lead to intestinal blockage because it is so thick and sticky? Actually, depending on how you use the propolis, because some of the propolis are dissolved in water, and you can simply like dissolve in alcohol or water, you can simply drink it, so it won't be sticky. But using the propolis capsules, yes, it can eventually cause constipation because it will absorb lots of water and other chemicals to, for our intestines to work with that. So again, we need to be careful about the dosage, because this is the key thing. So you can either decrease the dosage or you can increase the dosage depending how your intestines are reacting. But that's a very good question. And the other question is from Victoria: are the benefits of propolis due to the resins or the substances bees add to it? This is mostly because of the polyphenols coming from the resin of the trees. And again, I will show you some slides about this, why the polyphenols are important, because polyphenols are key for protection of the trees from infections, from ultraviolet, from diseases, and so forth. So plants produce this resin for themselves, and then bees collect it and use for themselves for their protection, and then we collect the propolis and use it for our own protection. So it's kind of a mutual relation, or like a protective relation that goes from plant to the bees, and from bees to the humans for us. But again, I will tell you about what is inside the propolis in the upcoming slides. Okay. Again, propolis is mostly used as an antiviral agent during the SARS-CoV-2, like the COVID virus or coronavirus. Actually, it has ended up like being on our throat and also in our lungs. So in the patients, in the people who use propolis during the COVID pandemic, so the propolis has coated because it is soluble in lipid as well. So when you dilute or dissolve propolis in olive oil or other oil products, you can cover your throat with it, and then it will not allow the COVID-19 virus to attach to the pharynges or the epithelial cells on the throat. So propolis has been used as a preventive agent during the COVID time, but it's also used as a treatment agent too when you have pharyngitis or sore throat. So propolis honey mixture and solution helps for the treatment of these. And again, I will show you in the applications of those. And propolis has been extensively used for wound healing. So basically, the chemicals, the polyphenols and some flavonoids and flavonols and flavonones, all these different chemicals inside the propolis coming from the resin, so they are very helpful for the wound healing agent. Some of them help with the regulate inflammation. Some of these chemicals help the epithelial cells to proliferate and close the wound. Some of them are helpful to to suppress the inflammation and also kill the bacteria, like inhibit the infections. Some of them will prevent the odor formation. So overall, all these different chemicals work synergistically in the propolis wound healing agents or propolis wound devices, and then they will work all together for the healing of the wound. And for example, these are some examples about wound healing of the propolis. So basically, this is an emul gel, is emulsifying gel. So propolis is put into an emulsifying gel, basically kind of a lipid-soluble molecule. So in the control, you can see that in the first day, they all have the same size of the wound in these rats. And then these rats, after the incision, they got, they started to use propolis, emul gel, sodium fusidate, which is one of the common wound healing agent, and propolis extract as is, and propolis in the emul gel. And after 15 days, like 2 weeks of treatment, control still has a wound about 30 to 40% of the regular size. Emul gel is about 20% of the size and no infection. And you can see in the control there's infection and inflammation still going on. Sodium fusidate was able to heal, but again, not as fast as propolis extract and propolis with emul gel. And you can see in the propolis emul gel, the skin is free from any scar tissue, which is very important because we do not want to see any scar tissue after the wound is healed. So propolis in emul gel, like emulsifying gel, help the healing of the wound very fast. So these are my slides about the propolis. And now I will be sharing, I will be sharing Dr. Stangeciu, a good friend of mine, who is the president of Romanian Epitherapy Society, and as well as he is the president of International Epitherapy Federation. So, and he's been studying about different wound products or different epitherapy products for several years. So he kindly shared his slides with me, and I will be showing some of the information about propolis from these slides. So let me adjust that. Make your slideshow. There you go. So you can see my slides, I believe. Is it right? Please tell yes or no.
Yes, we
Can you
see
see
the slides. We see the slides.
Okay, before I go with the slides, I think there was one more question here. I use 1 capsule a day, so that's enough to avoid intestinal blockage. Yes, again, please test it for yourself, and then you can decide about this eventually. So first of all, like, where does the origin and propolis type come from, and why is propolis important for life on Earth? It's an interesting approach that I really like Dr. Stangeciu's. And I will give a little more detail about the use of propolis in beehive and what are the characteristics, but most importantly, how do we administer propolis for our health? So again, propolis can come from different geographic origins and different colors, For example, you can see from a poplar tree, you can see a little bit darker propolis. This is the green propolis coming from Brazil, and this is the red propolis coming from Chile or other equatorial areas. So you can see red, green, or clear or black propolis coming from the geographical origin or depending on the climate. So we can have brown to greenish color, which is mostly found in the temperate areas. We can find green from the Brazil area because they mostly focus on green propolis for the last decade or even more. So, and Brazil is well known for the production of the propolis, which is very unique to that area. And it becomes a kind of a national brand that red propolis and green propolis from Brazil is being more and more studied. And we can also have amber propolis, we can have black propolis and so forth. Again, these are all dependent on the source of the propolis and the region of the propolis. So this is the green propolis from Brazil. And we can have the red propolis from Brazil as well. So this is mostly studied in those areas. And the most widespread propolis types, they can be from poplar tree. This is the poplar tree, like a cotton tree. And then again, these are most in Europe and North America. And this is very rich in flavonoids and flavones and cinnamic acids. The green propolis from Brazil, again, this is mostly coming from Baccharis species. And they have so much about the comeric acid and deuterpenic acids, which are the main constituents. There's birch propolis. The birch is like a white tree, a little bit white and black tree from Russia. And this is the Betula species. And again, this is rich in flavonoids and flavonols. Red propolis, again, Cuba and Brazil had the red propolis, and from Mexico, coming from the Albergia species. We have Mediterranean propolis coming from Greece and Sicily, Crete, and Malta, like from Mediterranean, like a sea. And then these are mostly coming from Cupressea plant. Oh, I'm sorry. And then from Cuba and Venezuela, again, we have Clusia, and from the Pacific, we have different propolis. As you see, depending on where it is coming from, we have different type of propolis, but we can find propolis from all different parts of the world. And unfortunately, we do not have so much studies in the United States about the propolis, and hopefully more people are, getting to do scientific research on them day by day. So why it is important? Because the plants, they need to produce polyphenols when during the dearth, like when the weather is very hot, not enough water, or during the climate change. So those polyphenols that are secreted from the buds or small leaves or even bark of the plant. And then these are the ones that are protecting the plants from different aggressors. For example, viruses, bacteria, parasites, even when you have a trauma, like when you cut the tree, or UV light. So these polyphenols help protect the trees. And then the bees, they go and collect these polyphenols. Okay. Oh, I'm so sorry, it keeps going the wrong direction. Hold on once. And polyphenols is important for protection of the life, like from UV light or from other traumas. So no polyphenols, no life of the trees. And no plants, no trees, there are no bees, because bees are important. Bees need their pollen and nectar from these plants. So no plants, no bees, and no propolis. And no propolis means no human life. So bees need the propolis for a sustainable life of them. And then as we cut out the trees, which are the sources of the propolis for trees, we are basically cutting out our own fingers, our own life on this earth. And as we do monoculture agriculture all over the place, and green, and you can see brown here. So these are monocultures, and these are very unhealthy for the bees, because bees need diversity for pollen, for propolis, for resin, and for the nectar source. So unfortunately, the monoculture is also inhibiting or decreasing the life of the bees. And traffic is another problem, like air pollution is also killing the bees because of the pesticide or because of the chemicals inside the air pollution. So how does the propolis use in the beehive? Again, propolis is the glue that is used for the bees. So by using propolis, the bees cover the cracks and crevices inside the hive. So for example, we have windows at home, right? And sometimes those windows can have, like, if there's a crack on the window or there's an opening on the wall, the air will come inside, and we cannot, even if you use AC or even if you use heater, those cracks will keep allowing the air to come in. So the bees, they need to stabilize the moisture and temperature inside the hive all over throughout the year. And as you may know, bees have 35 degrees Celsius in the hive all throughout the year. Even if it is winter, like outside is minus 10 degrees, minus 20 degrees, or even in summer, outside is plus 30, plus 35 degrees. Bees always keep the same temperature, which is 35 degrees Celsius inside the hive. And they produce this heat as they vibrate, and they produce coolness as they spin their wings and remove the air. So propolis help close all these gaps inside the hive. And then it is important for the bees to keep the temperature and humidity same inside the hive. So bees need propolis for a proper life inside the hive. And as you see, propolis is lipid insoluble, so they basically stick on the bees' legs, and then they are malleable, so they kind of melt it a little bit by using some enzymes produced by the bees, and those enzymes will dissolve the propolis, and they can use it for protection, or the closure of the edges, and as well as to protect in between the frames. And you can see a very large amount of propolis here. But can you produce propolis by yourself? Yes. There are specific type of hives. So you can scratch inside the hive by using a scratcher tool, and the bees will go and close those scratches, or they will start producing propolis on those scratch area or on those indentations. So you can make your hive propolis rich by making scratches inside the hive. And again, propolis is important for like they need to have authenticity, because not all propolis is propolis. You need to get it from reliable sources, especially from a honey store like Honingwinkel, or you can get it from companies or the beekeepers directly. But when you buy propolis from online sources like maybe Amazon or other eBay or those kind of places, you may not get the proper propolis. So you need to be careful about buying these kind of natural products from reliable sources, from the companies that you pay attention to those. I mean, that you trust. So again, good propolis means there should be a high amount of balsam. So it needs to be at least 45 grams out of 100 grams of balsam, which is the sticky substance coming from the resin. And again, it needs to be a high amount of phenolics, flavonols, and flavons. And again, it needs to has beeswax in it, because normally propolis is not malleable. It's not easy to give shape to it. So beeswax is added into the propolis to be to give a better shape into those ones. Okay, and then it should not contain a high amount of wood or dead bees or etc. Because when you collect the propolis, if you also get wood when you're scraping it, or if you are getting dead bees into it, the propolis quality will go down, because we don't want the wood pieces, or we don't want any dead bees inside it. And also, you should not be contaminated by the pesticides. You need to be careful about where the propolis is collected. Like if there is high amount of agriculture happening there will be pesticides, and propolis may not be good quality. And again, if there are heavy metals in the area, like high traffic areas by the highways, if you have bees there, probably that propolis will be contaminated with the heavy metals like the lead and arsenic and other heavy metals coming from the exhaust of the cars. So best one is you need to find an organic propolis collected from the mountainous areas. And again, it needs to have high balsam and high biological active compounds. So again, this is important where your propolis is coming. You need to know the source of your propolis, which tree it is coming from. This is the birch tree on the left bottom side. So this is mostly coming from Russia and North America, but also it can come from other type of trees, so that they have proper plants in their flight range, so you can collect the propolis that is needed. Unfortunately, sometimes bees also collect substitutes for propolis, such as the paint. Like if you have paint on your backyard, open container, or if there's an asphalt or even mineral oils, bees collect them to use as a glue. So again, we need to be careful about those, that we should not have contaminants inside the propolis. So how does the propolis is prepared? What kind of propolis-based products we can use? So again, propolis is insoluble in cold water. So when you collect the propolis like this in scrape form or powder form, pulverized form, it is not soluble in cold water, but it is partially soluble in warm or boiling water. But when you warm or boil the propolis, again, this is another disadvantage, because when you heat the propolis too much, especially in this living in hot temperatures, it will start some other chemical reactions which will decompose the propolis eventually. And propolis is soluble in alcohol. Ethanol is the most common way of dissolving propolis. But if you are sensitive about not using alcohol, then there are alternatives to this ethanol. You can use propylene glycol. So propylene glycol is a safe alcohol alternative, and it is still dissolve the propolis, and you can use it for that purpose. Acetone, again, we cannot use it for human consumption. Ammoniac, we can use for human consumption. Yes, they are used for isolation, but again, it is not safe for human consumption. So propolis can be entirely diluted by an adequate mixture of solvents. So some people say, okay, I'm going to dilute my propolis only in alcohol. No, alcohol dissolve most of the substances into it, but there's also some other chemicals which are not soluble in alcohol. That's why we need to add water to dissolve water-soluble molecules inside the propolis. So there is not we cannot tell 100% alcohol will be best or 100% propylene glycol. No, we need to make a proper mixture, and we need to follow the standard operating procedures like SOPs to extract the protein and use it the best way. But other way is you can consume the propolis as a raw propolis without any dilution. This is a method developed by Dr. Stefan Stangacciu. My friend from Romania. He is one of the experts in the epitherapy in the world. And then what he does is he mixed the nuts with propolis, which is pulverized like small pieces, and then with some pollen. So as you chew it in the mouth with the nuts, propolis is extremely soluble, like very easy to soluble, because the chemicals that we release from our mouth, like the enzymes, to dilute the pollen, to dissolve the pollen and the nuts, so it will help the solubility of the propolis. So if you want to use propolis raw without any solution, this is the best way that you can digest the propolis. And again, this makes the propolis very easy to use. You don't need a capsule. You don't need any other solubilities. You don't need to worry about alcohol in your solution. So this is the best way to dilute or to dissolve the propolis in the mouth. And then this is how it looks like when the propolis is dissolved in alcohol. It's almost fully dissolved. And this is the water propolis extract. But again, this is heated and boiled water, and probably it has some propylene glycol in it or glycerin in it to dissolve it. Another option is you can put your propolis in your olive oil container. So let's say you have 1 liter of olive oil, and you pour the propolis into it, and you keep mixing it from time to time. And eventually you will see that olive oil will dissolve the propolis, and you can keep using this or drinking this olive oil for your nutrition's help, which is enriched in propolis. So propolis is soluble in olive oil or other lipids. So that's another opportunity to dissolve the propolis. And let's talk about the pH of the propolis. Most of the pH is propolis goes into 5.2 to 5.7, which is a good pH because it doesn't make it very acidic. So propolis is not as acidic as the honey, because honey is mostly pH 3 to 5. But propolis is more than 5. And then in the propolis, there are more than 300 different substances has been identified. And most commonly, there are flavonoids, flavanones, and flavanols. They're flavones. These are all sounds the same. But these chemicals are very important for their antibacterial activity, because these chemicals are used to kill, for the antibiotic industry nowadays. But in propolis, we also have balsams and wax coming from the bees or from the honeybees. There are so many aromatic and essential oils which are soluble in by temperature. Again, there's also pollen inside the protein, because when the bees are collecting the pollen, propolis, they're also getting some pollen to eat, and it's kind of mixed from time to time. But again, these are the common protein or common chemicals inside the propolis. And this composition of propolis may change depending on the source of the propolis, which tree it's coming from. So again, flavones and flavonones, or flavonols, catechins, these are all different type of flavonoids. We also have phenolic acid, which is not counted in here. But again, these are the other chemicals inside the propolis. And as I mentioned, there are more than 70 useful properties in propolis. So it is antibacterial, antiviral, immune modulator. At the same time, propolis is good for the bee's health because propolis promote the beneficial microbiome in the bee's gut. And again, propolis is used for hive homeostasis, especially temperature and humidity. And propolis is a physical protection because by using propolis, honeybees close the gate or close the entrance of the hive. So they just make a physical barrier. If the hornets or other bees or other insects attack the honeybees to eat their honey, so they just use the propolis to shorten the entrance or to make the entrance much smaller. And again, propolis is used for detoxification. You might have seen, I don't have this image here, I wish I could have put it here, but propolis is also used for mummification. So mummification means like the bees, they will use the propolis and beeswax to cover a large animal, such as mouse, if they entered into the hive, because they kill the mouse, but they cannot carry the mouse because it's too big for them. So in order to prevent the decomposition and production of, production of different toxic materials from this decomposition of the mouse, so they cover it, they mummify it by using propolis. Actually, it has been also, there are some claims that the Egyptians learned how to mummify their dead people as they replicated what the bees are doing for the mice or for other large animals, even big insects or scorpions. So because bees cannot carry them outside, so they just cover them with propolis so that they never decompose and they never release any of those toxic materials or gases as a result of decomposition, and no bacteria will grow there. So honeybees are very sterile organisms. So they protect their hives from bacterial fungal infections very well, and propolis is one of those. Okay, again, propolis is rich in antioxidants, and oxidation is basically when you see the browning of the apple. So to prevent it, for example, lemon juice can be used antioxidant, but you can also use propolis to keep browning of the organisms. And again, these antioxidants or free radicals, they are the main cause of majority of diseases in our body. And basically, this is mostly causing the inflammation. And inflammation means fire. So when you have fire in the body, our white blood cells will come and fix it, because white blood cells are like the first responders to the problems or inflammation in the body. But if you have faulty alarm, if you have faulty fire alarm, then the fire truck will not come anymore, because it will take this a fault, this is a missed alarm, and then we don't need to use our resources for this. So that's why continuous inflammation or chronic inflammation is the main cause of various diseases. And we need to have antioxidants to prevent this oxidative stress in our body. So that's why in our diet we have antioxidants such as carrots or pomegranates or blueberries or grapes. But more than that, honey is very rich in antioxidants. Propolis is also very rich in antioxidants. So again, I mentioned about the chemicals inside the honey, like pomegranate and cherries and blueberries. They are rich in antioxidants. I will answer the questions before I go to my next one with the properties. So let me go to the questions now. Okay, I use little balls in yogurt. Good idea. Again, little balls of propolis in yogurt, it may not dissolve. You need to be careful about if it is continuous, it is dissolving all the way, because yogurt is rich in lipids because of the milk, but it's also very rich in proteins. So this may not completely dissolve it. I would recommend, instead of little balls, I would recommend it to make pulverize it, like make it small powder in, and then add yogurt into it. So as you consume it as a powder, then it will help, it will increase the exposure area and it can be digested easier. Okay, the question is, was best alcohol, water, and propolis percentage? Again, this I will have a slide about this. What is the best alcohol, water percentage? again, there are different combinations of those. I will be happy to share some procedures for this. Depending on the propolis type, this concentration will change. Okay, it says 70% alcohol, 30% water. Again, this is not always the same thing. You can add propylene glycol, which is not alcohol, which is not the alcohol that makes us drunk. You can add different continues into those. So some people said 96% too. Is there any information? Yes, I will be coming to Helicobacter pylori very soon, because propolis also has been shown to prevent the biofilm and dysbiosis in the gut microbiome. Okay, let me go back to where I am answering these questions. Again, this is a PDF, so it's kind of make the things a little bit harder. Hopefully I can start from slideshow from here, slide 29. Oh, yes. So propolis, again, it is antibacterial, antiviral, antimycotic, like fungal, and then antiparasitic properties. So propolis has been shown in the lab in vitro settings to kill viruses, bacteria, pathogens, protozoa, also some fungi, so which causes disease. So propolis is very rich or very usable product to kill those different chemicals. And propolis is anti-inflammatory, which is very important for our health. I mean, just a reminder, inflammation is the fire inside the body or on top of the body. So when you have a wound, or when you when you have some kind of imbalance in your body will go to inflammation. And inflammation is the fire alarm that brings all the white blood cells to clear up the area. So, for example, when you have a fire in your home or in your car or in the forest, you would call the 911 in the US, and then the fire truck and ambulance and the police will all come to take care of this problem. So in our body, when we have a fire, when we have an inflammation, it will call all the white blood cells like macrophages or neutrophils or basophils, dendritic cells. They will bring them down there so that they can take care of the inflammation. So anything that ends with itis or itis in our body, it is inflammation, like rhinitis, sinusitis, pharyngitis, laryngitis, bronchitis, cellulitis. So these are all different inflammation of different tissue types. So inside the propolis, we have pyrosembrin. This is one of the most common products, which has been shown to be antibacterial, antifungal, and it can kill the Helicobacter pylori, which is the causative agent of ulcer in the stomach. And again, also pyrosembrin has been used as a local analgesic. And galangin, again, this has all these properties, antibacterial, antifungal, but again, galangin has been shown to kill Helicobacter pylori. Quercetin, it is antiviral, antitumoral, so it's used for cancer treatments. And again, quercetin can help our cardiovascular system as it strengthens the capillaries. Another common product is CAPE, caffeic acid phenyl ester, and most of the propolis in Europe, they are counted or they are graded based on the amount of CAPE. But again, this is mostly for European propolis. If you get Brazilian propolis or Mexican propolis or Malaysian propolis, they do not have CAPE in them as much as European propolis do. So that's why this is not a universal measurement, but in Europe, CAPE is one of the common ways of measuring the quality of the propolis. And it is killing the cancer cells. It's also a hepatoprotector. It helps our liver to function properly. And another one is, again, I keep doing this. The caffeic acid, again, it has been shown to have different properties in the body. Stop doing this. And again, bacteria, like the propolis can be used for bacteria for various different properties. I already covered this, and because of the time, I need to skip this part. Again, antibacterial properties or antimicrobial properties of propolis is important for acne treatment. For example, if you have acne on your face, you can use propolis, or even your teenagers, you can apply dissolved propolis, or like, for example, propolis dissolved in oil, like olive oil, or propolis dissolved in propylene glycol or glycerin. You can apply directly onto the face as a face mask, and this one will regulate the inflammation, and also it will kill the bacteria, which is Cutibacterium acnes, that causes the acne. Again, propolis is important for folliculitis, like the follicles that are blocking the body, the skin. Again, it's used for superficial infected wounds, other burns and boils, and again, skin grafts. So again, these are like propolis can also be used for cellulitis, like the skin inflammation, which is because of caused of different bacteria. So propolis can be used for cellulitis as well. And I already mentioned about this. This is an example of how the propolis is used for a wound treatment. So this is a propolis extract that is applied into a pretty large wound. I think I have the dates on this, but I cannot see them now. So this is how the propolis is removing the dead skin by November 28, 2019. Oh, this is the October. So, and then within less than a month, the dead skin is gone, the new tissue is coming in, and by February, it has been healed, that there is no infection or no wound has even healed, even left. Again, this is very important because there is no scar tissue left behind after the propolis application. Propolis can be used for periodontitis. And by the way, this is Dr. Stangechi on the right side. He himself has periodontitis, and then he applied propolis against his periodontitis. And by applying, you can see some other images here, just by applying propolis regularly as a toothpaste, you can decrease the periodontitis and you can regain healthy gums. Just use propolis as a toothpaste. And again, this is another patient with the wound healing within just 3 months, or actually 4 months. This is a necrotic tissue, necrotic wound, and this the eschar, which is the black coverage. So again, by using propolis, all this wound and the infection is gone, and then the wound has went into the way of full healing. And again, this is a patient in Romania, in diabetic patient. Normally, when you see this kind of a wound, like in February, for example, February 2013, within only 2 months of propolis application, this dead tissue, the eschar tissue, the black one, and also the infection and inflammation, the pus, they're all gone in just 2 months of propolis application. So you can see the speed that the propolis is increasing for wound healing. Again, these are used propolis extracts. So what is the best dose? Normally in medicine, we need to use like some amount until we reach the healing dose. So this cannot be always found directly. So that healing dose needs to be adjusted as the doses increase day by day. And once you have the healing dose, you need to use it for a while. Then it will go down and you can go to the prevention dose on most of the diseases. But in acute disease, you need to use the dose very quickly in just seconds, minutes, or even hours of the application. How the propolis applied? Again, we want to reach all disease cells, the main goal. However, we also need to support the healthy cells that help the healing of the disease cells. So there is not only one way administration, and it's also better to apply propolis from different administration routes, like we will show in a little bit. So in medicine, the golden rule of medical use of propolis is all anatomical ways, doors, windows of the body. For example, you can apply through the skin by superficial holes like the ears and the eyes, and then it is external application. You can have internal administration, so you can swallow you can swallow the propolis or drink it, and then you can sublingual administration. Again, you can apply propolis as liquids in a tincture, in alcohol or water propolis, and you can also have add the propolis as semi-liquids like honey propolis mixtures. And again, you can use as solid like the granules or butter propolis extract, propolis tablets, bonbons, capsules, powders, and so forth. And you can make chewing gums or toothpaste from propolis as well. So again, best method of administration is honey and propolis will be combined as a throat spray, because honey is anti-inflammatory, antibacterial. Propolis is the same, but when you combine them, you are increasing the power of them, and then it will help the pharyngitis, which is the inflammation of the throat, as we know as sore throat. And again, another way is respiratory tract diseases. We can inhale the propolis. So what is inhaling means that you can heat the propolis, and once you heat it, the volatile compounds, such as the phenolic acids and the flavonoids, they will be released from the propolis, and it will be in the room, or if you are using a mask, you're going to inhale the propolis volatiles directly. This also propolis can be applied as ovules, like vaginal suppositories or tablets, intravaginally and from the rectum. And by heating the propolis, we have propolizer devices. For example, this is the one from Italy, the Propol Air. So basically this heating device, like you can see the fire here. So this one goes all the way to 200 degrees Celsius. And by heating the propolis, the volatile components coming from the propolis will be released into the air. And then you can have it in your living room, in your bedroom, or in the study rooms or whatever. So by establishing this Propol Air, you can have chemicals, you can protect it with an antiseptic coating or antibacterial coating you will see in your home. Again, you can use Propol Air for the car. Again, you just put into the car's in electric socket, and then the energy will start heating the propolis, and it will release antimicrobial agents. So by this way, you can have fresh air, or you can have protected air in your car. This is propolis steam from Slovenia. Basically, again, this is heating the propolis with some water around it, and the steam and the water droplets or vapor will help the propolis to go in all the way into the room in the area. Again, we mentioned about other administrations. Suppositories can be used for intrarectal, and even there can be intra-articular injections or intravenous injections for aqueous propolis extract. But this is a little bit dangerous way. I would not recommend it unless you are under the observation of a health professional. Again, there are propolis eye drops. So once the propolis is diluted in water, like in propylene glycol and so forth, you can use it as an eye drop, which will help for the mycelia or for other infections in the eye. Again, we can have propolis creams, sunscreen agents, lipstick, ointments, plasters and lotions and solutions. Again, there are different types of propolis applications for human health. You can have soap out of propolis, which can be used for hair and skin. I don't know if propolis help the regrowth of the hair. So maybe some people who has hair loss, like bald people, can use propolis to enhance the regrowth of the hair in the area. And again, there's another method of electrophorophoresis. So basically, you apply ionization into this water dilution thing, and you add propolis in them. So the propolis will cover your hands. And again, this will be helpful for it will be absorbed through the skin directly. So these methods can be applied alone or combined. So you can add honey or garlic or ginseng into propolis, or it can be different preparations depending on how you'd like to use. But again, there's not a single way of propolis dilution. But again, the most important thing is the tolerance for propolis is 1 gram per kilogram body weight per day. We can tolerate this, which means that if you are, let's say you are 70 kilograms, you can get 70 grams of propolis per day, which is a very high amount. So propolis is not toxic into the human body. But again, it's always important to check the dose for yourself, depending on your age, gender, health status, and so forth. And raw propolis, it can be 3 to 10 grams per day after chewing. And propolis tincture can be 5 to 50%, depending on 5 to 30 drops a day. Again, this is showing that we have a strong tolerance for those. Most importantly, we need to test for any allergies, although it's not bee venom, but this is propolis. But some of the chemicals inside the propolis can induce allergy in the human body. So it's better to use 1 drop in the area, start with low doses, and then you can increase the amount. Again, it can be through the mouth, through the skin, like you can have a propolis massage and suppositories and also electrotherapy. Okay, these are about different, you can have propolis water extract, alcohol extract, lipid extracts, and so forth. So you get squeezed the most active ingredient from the propolis by this way. And again, the most importantly, make sure that you store all your propolis products in a cool area, dark and cool place, because the chemicals inside the propolis are prone to reactions when you apply heat on them. Okay, and then again, you can start a detoxification program before using propolis. Make sure you are using proper products, and also it will activate the blood flow. So you can also use active propolis compounds during the workouts. And help your body to have bioenergies to be released, and you can do some exercise before applying propolis as well. And thank God and nature each time you use this extraordinary remedy, which is provided to us from through the plants, through the trees, by the bees, and from bees to us. Okay, I think we have some questions and conclusion questions. So perfect quality, fresh, raw propolis when it is correctly used and extracted. So use as much as raw and fresh propolis. But if you need to keep it frozen. And quality and quantity is very important here. There need to be a balance about this. And then also you can adapt your own pharmaceutical form as a tincture, water, oil, butter, or pollen extracts, or you can consume it with the other things. So, and also administration through different anatomical pathways. So this concludes my presentation about propolis. I'm glad I was able to finish it before my time is up.